It was one of those days that felt completely ordinary, the kind of day people forget as soon as it ends. The house was quiet, calm, and familiar. Kody and Robyn Brown were at home, resting, with no sense of urgency, no concern, no reason to believe that anything unusual could happen. The doors felt secure, the walls felt protective, and the silence felt comforting. In moments like these, people naturally lower their guard. They believe that danger exists far away, somewhere else, to someone else. Inside this house, everything felt normal. They had spent most of the day doing very little. No loud conversations, no visitors, no unexpected calls. Just a slow, relaxed afternoon where time seemed to move gently. The kind of afternoon where thoughts wander and awareness fades. Home has a way of creating that illusion of safety. It convinces people that nothing bad can reach them there. That belief is powerful, and often dangerous. Unbeknownst to them, someone else had been thinking about this house for days. Watching it quietly. Observing its patterns. Learning its rhythms. The man who would soon enter the house had noticed how predictable everything was. When lights turned on. When they turned off. How long the house remained still. He noticed that afternoons were quiet, that movement was minimal, that the house appeared unguarded. In his mind, this was not a coincidence. It was an opportunity. He had done this before. He knew patience mattered more than speed. He didn't rush. He didn't act impulsively. He waited for the right moment, telling himself that preparation guaranteed success. He believed that the house would be empty, or that anyone inside would be distracted enough not to notice him. That belief grew stronger with every quiet day he observed. Confidence settled in, slowly and deeply. That confidence eventually pushed him forward. On this particular afternoon, he approached the house carefully. His movements were controlled, deliberate, and quiet. He checked his surroundings. No neighbors watching. No unusual activity. Everything appeared normal. Exactly as he expected. He found a point of entry that required no force, no damage, no noise. A simple oversight, something many homeowners never think twice about. He stepped inside. For a moment, he stood completely still, listening. Silence filled the house. To him, that silence confirmed his assumption. The house was empty. Or so he believed. He took a slow breath and moved further inside, his attention fully focused on his goal. Gold jewelry. Cash. Small items with high value. Things that could disappear quickly without immediate notice. He moved from room to room, opening drawers carefully, closing them just as softly. His actions were practiced. He avoided unnecessary noise. Every movement was intentional. When he reached the bedroom, his focus sharpened. Bedrooms often held what he was looking for. Jewelry boxes. Hidden cash. Personal valuables. He found exactly that. Inside a jewelry box were gold necklaces, rings, bracelets. Items collected over time, items connected to memories and meaning. He did not care about that. To him, they were simply objects with price tags. He placed them into his bag without hesitation. Then he searched further, finding cash tucked away carefully, likely meant for security or emergencies. Ironically, it was being taken during one. As his bag became heavier, his confidence grew. In his mind, everything was going according to plan. He believed he was alone. He believed he had complete control of the situation. At the same time, just a short distance away, something subtle began to shift. Robyn felt it first. Not a sound, not something obvious, but a feeling that didn't belong. A quiet discomfort. The kind of instinct people often ignore. She remained still, listening closely. Her body felt alert before her mind fully understood why. She heard something faint. Something small. But it didn't match the normal sounds of the house. She tried to dismiss it. Houses make noises. Floors settle. Objects move slightly. But this felt different. This sound had intention behind it. Kody noticed it shortly after. A disturbance that didn't fit the quiet pattern of the afternoon. A sound that shouldn't exist when no one else was supposed to be there. Neither of them spoke. Neither of them moved unnecessarily. They listened, focusing entirely on the environment around them. The house no longer felt safe. The thief continued moving, unaware that his presence was slowly being detected. He opened another drawer. A soft metallic sound followed. Small, but enough. Enough to confirm what Kody and Robyn were beginning to realize. Someone was inside their home. That realization changed the atmosphere instantly. What had been calm now felt tense. What had felt familiar now felt threatening. Time seemed to slow down. Every second stretched longer than the last. Their minds raced, but they stayed still. Panic did not take over, but fear was undeniable. Inside the house, two realities now existed at the same time. One man believed he was alone, moments away from leaving with stolen valuables. Two people knew their home had been violated, and danger was closer than they ever imagined. This was only the beginning. Once the realization settled in that someone else was inside the house, everything changed. The air felt heavier, as if the walls themselves were listening. Kody and Robyn stayed exactly where they were, barely breathing, their senses sharpened by fear and uncertainty. In moments like this, the mind works faster than usual, scanning every possible outcome, every possible mistake. They knew one wrong move could turn a quiet situation into something dangerous. They listened carefully. The sounds were clearer now. Not loud, but deliberate. A drawer sliding open. A soft clink, metal touching metal. These were not random house noises. These were human actions. Someone was moving with purpose, touching things that did not belong to them. The realization created a deep sense of violation. This was not just fear anymore. This was intrusion. Robyn's thoughts raced. Questions formed instantly. Who was it? Was he alone? Was he armed? Did he know they were inside? Every possibility carried risk. She resisted the urge to move or speak. Silence felt like the only protection they had. Kody understood this instinctively. Remaining unnoticed was their greatest advantage. The thief, meanwhile, was fully absorbed in his task. His attention was fixed on the valuables in front of him. He did not consider the possibility that the house was occupied. To him, the quiet confirmed success. Each item placed into his bag strengthened his belief that he was in control. He moved with growing ease, no longer as cautious as before. Confidence slowly replaced restraint. As he searched deeper, he found more than he expected. Additional jewelry, neatly stored. More cash hidden away. This made him linger longer than planned. Greed extended his time inside the house, and that extension increased his risk. Every extra second created another chance for him to be discovered. In another room, Kody carefully reached for his phone. The movement was slow and controlled, done with extreme caution. He positioned it so that no sound would be made. His heart was pounding, but his hands remained steady. This was not a moment for panic. This was a moment for precision. He understood that confronting the intruder directly could lead to unpredictable consequences. Robyn watched him closely, her attention divided between his movements and the sounds coming from elsewhere in the house. She trusted his judgment. Neither of them wanted to escalate the situation. Their priority was safety, not bravery. Kody placed the emergency call quietly. His voice was low, almost a whisper, but clear enough to be understood. He explained that an intruder was inside their home. He gave their location. He followed instructions carefully, responding only when necessary. The operator's calm tone provided a small sense of control in an otherwise unstable situation. The police were notified. From that moment on, time felt distorted. Seconds felt like minutes. Minutes felt endless. Every sound seemed louder than it should be. Every movement inside the house created a spike of fear. The waiting was unbearable, but it was necessary. They knew the police needed time to arrive, and until then, silence was their shield. The thief continued his movements, unaware that his actions were now being monitored indirectly. He shifted positions, walking through the hallway. His footsteps were clearer now. Too clear. The house echoed slightly with each step. That sound alone confirmed how close he really was. Robyn felt her chest tighten. The distance between them and the intruder was shrinking. She wondered if he would stumble into their room. If he would notice signs of life. A misplaced item. A subtle sound. Any small detail could reveal them. The thief paused briefly, as if listening. For a moment, the entire house seemed frozen. Kody and Robyn stayed completely still. Even breathing felt dangerous. But after a few seconds, the thief continued moving. Whatever he thought he heard, he dismissed it. That moment nearly changed everything. Had he trusted his instinct, the confrontation might have happened then. But instead, he continued searching, unaware that police vehicles were already moving toward the house. Inside, the tension reached a new level. The house was no longer just invaded. It was a waiting ground. A place where three people occupied the same space with completely different realities. One believed he was alone and winning. Two knew danger was present, and were relying on time and restraint to survive it. The thief adjusted his bag, preparing to leave. In his mind, the job was nearly done. He had what he came for. He felt successful. What he did not realize was that the smallest mistake was about to expose him. And when it happened, there would be no turning back. As the thief adjusted the bag on his shoulder, a sense of completion settled in. In his mind, the job was almost finished. He had taken what he came for, spent more time than planned, yet still believed he was in control. That belief made him careless. His focus shifted from caution to escape, and that shift created the mistake that would undo everything. He moved toward the hallway, no longer stepping as carefully as before. The weight of the stolen items changed his balance. His foot brushed against a small object on the floor. It rolled slightly, producing a dull but unmistakable sound. The noise echoed through the quiet house, sharper than any sound before it. Kody and Robyn heard it clearly. This was no longer subtle. This was confirmation. The intruder was moving freely, confidently, and dangerously close. The distance between them had shrunk to just a few steps. The tension reached a level where silence felt fragile, as if it could break at any second. Their muscles tightened. Their minds locked into survival mode. The thief paused. For the first time since entering the house, uncertainty crossed his mind. He stood still, listening. The house, moments ago filled with small sounds, returned to complete silence. He narrowed his focus, trying to determine whether what he heard meant anything at all. He told himself it was nothing. That decision cost him everything. He continued forward, stepping further down the hallway. As he did, part of the bag shifted. A piece of gold jewelry slipped out and hit the floor. The sound was sharp, metallic, and impossible to ignore. It rang through the house like a signal. The thief froze. So did Kody and Robyn. Time seemed to stop. Every breath felt heavy. Every second carried consequence. The thief's mind raced as a terrifying realization formed. He was not alone. Someone else was in the house. Someone had heard him. Panic replaced confidence instantly. He turned quickly, no longer caring about noise. His movements became rushed, unplanned. He looked for the fastest exit, but the unfamiliar layout worked against him. Doors that looked like exits led to dead ends. Hallways felt longer than before. The house that had seemed simple now felt confusing. Kody and Robyn remained exactly where they were. They did not chase. They did not shout. They followed the instructions they had been given. Their strength was in restraint. They understood that fear could make the intruder unpredictable. The thief's breathing grew heavy. His thoughts scattered. He considered abandoning the bag, but greed made him hesitate. That hesitation slowed him down. Every second mattered now, and he was losing them. From outside, faint sirens could be heard in the distance. Not loud yet, but approaching. The sound cut through the thief's panic like a blade. His heart sank. He knew then that escape was no longer guaranteed. He made one final attempt to leave through another route, moving faster than before. But speed led to noise. Footsteps echoed loudly now. A door slammed. The house was no longer quiet. The silence that had protected him was gone. Kody and Robyn heard everything. They knew the police were close. The thief realized it too. Trapped between panic and reality, he made the worst decision possible. Instead of hiding properly or surrendering, he reacted impulsively. He turned suddenly and opened a door he assumed would lead outside. It didn't. He came face to face with Kody and Robyn. The moment was brief, but unforgettable. No words were spoken. Shock froze all three of them. The thief saw their faces and understood instantly how wrong he had been. The house had never been empty. His assumption had been his downfall. Fear overtook him completely. He stepped back, lost his footing, and dropped the bag. Jewelry and cash spilled across the floor, physical evidence of the crime now fully exposed. That sound marked the end of his control. The sirens grew louder. The outcome was no longer uncertain. What began as a quiet theft had become a mistake that could not be undone. The moment the bag hit the floor and the stolen items scattered across it, the reality of the situation became undeniable. There was no confusion left, no uncertainty, no room for denial. The thief stood frozen, his breathing heavy and uneven, his eyes darting between Kody and Robyn as his mind desperately searched for a way out that no longer existed. The shock on his face revealed everything. He knew he had been caught, not just seen, but fully exposed. Kody and Robyn did not move toward him. They did not shout or attempt to restrain him. They stayed exactly where they were, keeping distance, understanding that desperation could turn dangerous without warning. Their focus was no longer on fear but on control. The police were close, and they needed to keep the situation stable until help arrived. The thief stepped backwards slowly, his hands trembling. He looked around the room as if the walls themselves might open and allow him to escape. But every exit felt blocked, every option closed. The house that had once felt like an opportunity now felt like a trap. The sound of approaching sirens grew louder with each passing second, pressing down on him like a weight he could no longer carry. He made a sudden movement, not toward Kody or Robyn, but away from them, trying to retreat into another part of the house. His steps were unsteady. Fear had overtaken all rational thought. The stolen items remained on the floor, abandoned, forgotten. Survival had replaced greed, but it was too late for that shift to matter. From outside, police vehicles arrived. Doors opened. Footsteps approached the house quickly and with purpose. Clear, firm commands were shouted as officers entered, securing the scene with precision and caution. The thief had no time to react. Within moments he was surrounded, ordered to the ground, and restrained without resistance. The arrest was swift and controlled. There was no struggle. No dramatic escape attempt. Just the quiet collapse of a plan that had failed completely. The stolen gold jewelry and cash were recovered immediately, spread across the floor as undeniable proof of the crime. What had been taken in secrecy was now revealed under bright authority. Kody and Robyn were guided to safety. Officers checked on them, asking calm questions, confirming that they were unharmed. Only then did the tension begin to release from their bodies. The adrenaline that had kept them steady slowly faded, replaced by exhaustion and emotional shock. The police explained what had happened clearly. The intruder had acted alone. He had entered believing the house was empty. He had stayed longer than necessary. He had made multiple critical mistakes, each one narrowing his chance of escape. His final error had been underestimating the people inside the house. As the thief was taken away, the house returned to silence once again. But this silence was different. It was heavy, reflective, filled with the awareness of how close the situation had come to something far worse. The walls still stood, the rooms remained the same, but the sense of safety had been permanently altered. The danger was over, but its impact remained. After the police vehicles left and the flashing lights disappeared from the street, the house fell into a silence that felt unfamiliar. It was not the calm silence of rest or comfort. It was heavy, thoughtful, and filled with unspoken emotion. Kody and Robyn remained inside, sitting quietly, trying to process what had just happened. Their home looked the same on the surface, yet everything felt different. A place that once symbolized safety had revealed how fragile that sense of security truly was. As the adrenaline faded, exhaustion took its place. Their bodies felt heavy, their minds replaying every sound, every moment, every decision they had made. Small details returned with clarity. The faint noise that first raised suspicion, the controlled breathing, the waiting that felt endless. They realized how close the situation had come to turning dangerous, how thin the line had been between safety and harm. The recovered jewelry and cash were placed back where they belonged, but they no longer felt the same. These items were no longer just valuables. They had become symbols of vulnerability. Objects that reminded them that privacy had been violated, that someone had crossed the invisible boundary that defines a home. Even though nothing was physically damaged, something intangible had been shaken. Robyn reflected deeply on the experience. She understood how instincts had played a crucial role. That initial feeling of unease, the hesitation to ignore it, the choice to stay quiet instead of reacting emotionally, all of it had mattered. She realized how often people dismiss such instincts in daily life, brushing them aside as imagination or overthinking. This time, listening had made the difference. Kody thought about responsibility, about preparation, about the small oversights people make when they feel comfortable. He realized that safety is not something guaranteed by routine or familiarity. It requires awareness, planning, and the ability to stay calm under pressure. He knew that reacting impulsively could have escalated the situation, turning a crime into a tragedy. That night, sleep did not come easily. Every sound felt amplified. The house creaked like it always had, but now each noise carried meaning. They checked locks more than once. They walked through rooms slowly, ensuring everything was secure. The sense of violation lingered, refusing to disappear simply because the danger was gone. In the days that followed, life attempted to return to normal. Daily routines resumed, conversations shifted back to ordinary topics, and the outside world moved on quickly. But for Kody and Robyn, something had permanently changed. They had experienced firsthand how quickly normalcy can collapse and how important measured decisions are during moments of crisis. They upgraded their home's security, not out of fear alone, but out of understanding. Cameras, alarms, and reinforced entry points became part of their environment. These changes were not about living in fear. They were about acknowledging reality. Safety, they learned, is not paranoia. It is preparedness. The thief's fate unfolded separately. Legal consequences followed swiftly. His actions, which he believed would go unnoticed, had cost him his freedom. He had underestimated the situation, misjudged the environment, and allowed confidence to override caution. His crime served as a reminder that assumptions can be dangerous, and that actions always leave consequences behind. For Kody and Robyn, the experience became a story they would never forget. Not because of the crime itself, but because of what it revealed. It showed them the importance of trust between partners, the power of staying calm, and the value of making the right choices under pressure. It reminded them that strength does not always come from confrontation, but from restraint and awareness. This incident was not just about a thief being caught. It was about a moment where fear could have taken control but did not. It was about two people choosing caution over chaos. It was about understanding that danger does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it enters quietly, testing how prepared we truly are. In the end, the house remained standing. Life continued. But the lesson stayed. Safety is never absolute. Awareness matters. Calm thinking matters. And sometimes, the smallest decision, listening to a feeling, staying silent, calling for help, can change the outcome of everything. This was not just a story of a crime. It was a reminder that vigilance and patience can turn a moment of fear into a moment of survival.